Hello, my name is Matthew. Last night I read a short story by Guy de Maupassant. I read A Day in the Country. It's a simple little story. The plot is in the title. It's about a family. It's a mother and a father and their daughter and her husband to be and the father's grandmother. And they are taking a little mini vacation. They're leaving the city and going off into the country to enjoy the day. And they go off and they find a place, and while they're there, they meet two locals, two young, strapping Frenchmen who live out in the country. They're not Parisians. And uh, the two locals manage to convince the daughter, the young girl, young lady, and the mother to go on a boat ride. And while one of the local Frenchmen is rowing the boat with the young girl, they eventually have a passionate moment. And that's the whole story. That's it. And what makes it so special is the beauty of the writing. It's marvelous. Maupassant manages to just evoke the most tremendously romantic imagery in the landscape, and the idea of having a day in the country, meeting locals, having fun, going on a boat ride. And it's a short story, but it's a very short story. It's less than 10 pages long. And he is able to just so efficiently characterize all of these things. Just in a few sentences, you get a great idea of all of the principal characters, where they are, slight senses of a fish out of water, the daughter having her obligation with another man to be wed, and still having uh, wandering thoughts, young love, romance. Um, it's just such a beautiful, tender, charming, amusing, lovely little story. And I'll read just one part to give you an idea of how Maupassant is able to characterize these people. I think I forgot to mention that there was a grandmother that went on the trip. I think I forgot that. So now they've arrived at their destination, and they're getting out of their wagon to set up for the day. That's the context. Next, the young girl, placing one hand on her father's shoulder, jumped down lightly by herself. The lad, with the flaxen hair, had got down by putting one foot on the wheel, and he helped Monsieur Dufour to unload Grandma. That's all I read. And just basically one sentence gives you such an impression of not only all of the characters, but how they're how they relate to each other, their association, and manages to make it just a little amusing. And a great description of the grandmother. She needs to be unloaded. It's full of these kind of just lovely little details that make it memorable and special. The young girl is on a swing set. They find a swing set, and she's standing on the seat and swinging as high as she can. And it ends. So the young girl has a tryst with a local, and then they leave. years later, or however, a period of time later, um, the young girl comes back with her now husband, and they're walking along the same parts that they were, and she happens to run into the young man that she had a romantic moment with years ago, and it ends with the new husband who never had a personality, not described as having any sort of personality. Just goes, "Come along, dear, come along." And it ends with her um, looking at a missed opportunity or a life or a chance that she didn't take. Um, it's not tragic, but it's thought provoking. Um, all of this just in a few pages. It's, I love it. I love reading Maupassant. Um, I'll add that my French friend recommended a movie. There's a movie made by Jean Renoir in the 1930s. It's um, I'll call it a featurette. I think it's about 40 some minutes long. Um, and I recently watched it. I watched it maybe 2 weekends ago, and it's just as lovely and charming as the short story. I will say that even though it's a very short movie, it's only 40 some minutes long. It's still about twice as long as it would take you to read the short story. Um, so whether you whether you read it or watch the movie, you really can't go wrong. And it takes no time at all. I'll end there. This is another Maupassant Monday. Um, and yeah, leave a comment if you'd like. Let me know if you've read Maupassant or this short story or anything like that. Thank you for watching.